Hi, and welcome back to Ivy English. I'm Karen.
And I'm Chris Gorski.
Today is June 19th, and today we're going to hear part 2 of the article that we started yesterday entitled Keeping Traditions Alive with Local Souvenirs.
So yesterday I said that I never bring souvenirs home to my family. However, I forgot to say, when I come back to Taiwan, I stock up on fun little things to give to everybody I know. There are a lot of really good quality items that you can get for very cheap in the United States if you know where to look. It might not be local and representative of my hometown, but they're generally nice items in general to give. And so I save the money not bringing it to the U.S. and I spend it and bring it back to Taiwan. And people here really appreciate it. They seem genuinely very happy to get these gifts from me.
What kinds of items?
The last time I went, this was pre-COVID. I went to, what was it called? Bath and Body Works. It's one of those these stores that you could get really nice, beautifully scented lotions. I realized I had a certain amount of weight in my luggage, so I just filled that space up with the little dollar size bottles of lotion, about 30 NT, and I just handed them out to every female that I knew. And just, here you go. I gave this, and the girls were just I won a lot of fans that year.
And I got one of those with shea butter, which I really, really enjoy.
Did I give that to you?
I still have it. Yes, I got
one. Well, that's funny.
It's because shea butter is really, really good stuff.
Lovely, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I brought it with me to France because it was a nice small bottle.
It's a tiny bottle, and it's not too heavy. It doesn't feel too extravagant. It costs 30 NT. It's not going to break the bank. And if you give it to any of the various females that you work with, they're really going to like it. Fellas, I'll give you a hearty handshake. I don't know. Boy, sorry.
Especially if it's good quality, because like I just mentioned, it's spelled S-H-E-A. It comes from a nut in Africa, and the oil is really, really good for your skin. And they even put it in toilet paper now to make it softer and everything. But it's really excellent as a beauty oil. So S-H-E-A, shea oil. Okay, let's go to our article. Our title again is Keeping Traditions Alive with Local Souvenirs. These days, it's estimated that around 1/3 of the average tourist travel budget is spent on retail items. However, most souvenirs people buy on vacation probably aren't even produced in the country they are visiting. Think of all the ball caps, T-shirts, bracelets, bumper stickers, and novelty items on sale at any tourist hotspot. Often, these items are produced on the opposite side of the world and shipped to the local area where they are sold.
In the 21st century, the current model of the souvenir industry just isn't sustainable. The fuel spent on shipping massive containers of cheap, mass-produced items has a serious environmental impact. In many cases, the people making these inexpensive clothing and plastic items may be working at factories in poor conditions. What's more, such souvenirs don't benefit the local community where they are sold in the same way as locally produced items do.
To promote local communities' well-being and environmental sustainability, both tourists and local governments need to take concrete steps to change things around. Governments should encourage vendors to stock a majority of locally made products instead of cheaper items imported from foreign countries. Conscious tourists can choose to purchase locally produced souvenirs to support the livelihoods of local craftsmen and businesses. This helps create a more symbiotic relationship between tourists and the communities they visit, directly promoting the economic development of the local area. While local handmade goods may be a bit more expensive, they generally offer better quality and contribute significantly to preserving local cultures and traditions. Let's go back to the beginning. These days, it's estimated that around 1/3 of the average tourist travel budget is spent on retail items. I find that shocking for somebody who doesn't really buy souvenirs anymore.
I agree. In fact, I tried to list out what I might purchase. I spent money on souvenirs, but I wonder if retail are goods sold in small numbers to be used by an individual, not resold to someone else. I wonder, does this include like someone forgot their toothpaste and shaving cream? I wonder if that doesn't factor because 1/3 of your travel budget sounds
for
like
trinkets?
a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. In my case, because I don't buy just souvenirs, I buy real, genuine, authentic instruments. So I paid over $200 for the sitar in India, but that was really worthwhile.
I wonder if, we have to recognize too that we in many ways are atypical of a number of Americans and their habits, where some people are really into consumerism and purchasing. Like they get a lot of gratification from that. And I reckon you and I are not really that way.
Typical, because we live in a foreign country in the first place, and we've traveled more, probably. Right. And what they do in the States is, what do you do with all these trinkets? Well, you don't use them. They have no particular use. You end up buying a bigger house. And I'm serious.
That's right, yeah. And then you gift these horrible, tawdry, tacky, just like T-shirts and things that no one will ever in their right mind wear.
I have to say something about T-shirts because I am one of the perpetrators of that.
Really?
I would travel around. I would buy a T-shirt I try to buy a T-shirt from each country. But in Greece, I bought one that was the beginning of the Odyssey written in Greek. That was really a cool T-shirt.
Was this for yourself or for someone else?
For my son.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I would buy things that had something in the language of the country because for me, I study languages. That was meaningful. But I don't think my kids appreciated it the way I did. So the rest of the story is I am wearing a lot of different shirts in different languages as pajamas now.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's great.
I'm using them.
That's right. It's using them. Yeah, okay.
From Tibet, the one from Greece, from Georgia, I've got all these pajamas.
I will definitely be on my soapbox this episode, meaning that I have a certain number of strong opinions. If you disagree, no worries. It's totally fine to disagree with me. I just don't ever give me a T-shirt. I know what I want to wear, and I wear specific fits, and I like slim-fitted clothes.
Me too. I don't like the baggy ones, and that's why they end up as pajamas. However, I got one with the Khmer alphabet on it when I was in Cambodia. And so if I ever want to make a statement like, I study Asian languages and it's slim fitting. So for me, I have the same concerns.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but I'm okay with T-shirts if they're the right kind.
Different strokes for different folks.
Exactly. Okay, next sentence. However, most souvenirs people buy on vacation probably aren't even produced in the country they are visiting. And that's a standing joke. So you bring back the souvenir from Tahiti, whatever. Oh, made in China.
This made me think of the Christmas factories in Yiwu, right outside of Shanghai. Shanghai, there are about these 600 factories in Yiwu outside of Shanghai, and they produce 60% of the world's Christmas decorations.
And they get sick from the paints that they use.
It's unbelievable to look at pictures from there. Yeah. They have a lot of fascinating stories, and it's just bizarre to think all this stuff comes from one little community. We'll talk more about this a little later, but this is instantly what we think about. The Christmas, I guess you could call it the Christmas village in the most cynical way possible.
Right. And then, well, we better skip some of the other stories. Okay, think of all the ball caps, T-shirts, bracelets, bumper stickers, and novelty items on sale at any tourist hotspot. So like I said, baggy old T-shirts, they make great pajamas. I'm fine with those. I don't want tons of them, but I'm okay with them. But I never wear ball caps.
Yeah,
and I have to say share a little pet peeve. Why do Taiwanese love baseball caps so much?
I don't know. I wonder if baseball was a dominant sport in this country for so long. I wonder if that's not a holdover. NBA basketball is clearly more popular than baseball today for Taiwanese youth, but I think maybe that's where that's from.
Okay, my point isn't so much the sport. It's that this style of cap, you'll see almost any male on the street is wearing one of those caps. I never understood the attraction. I don't like those caps myself.
I need to pay attention to this more because I personally have not noticed this, but then again, I've never really thought about it. It may be just one of those things that I never noticed, and now that you pointed out, but yeah, there are a lot of baseball caps.
Because for me personally, when I hike, I never wear one of those. I either wear a floppy hat that will cover more of my body and my face, or I will just carry an umbrella as a
do you mean specifically like while hiking?
No, any time. It's just you go on the street, everybody, most of the males, a lot of the females are wearing those baseball caps. And I don't understand why they wear them. They do not provide good protection from the rain or the weather. What is the point?
Maybe it's more fashionable. Maybe like they're not as concerned about it.
We have different fashion senses. Okay, this is just my pet peeve. What is the attraction of baseball caps? Okay, so it says ball caps. I have to give mine away because I certainly don't wear them. T-shirts I'm okay with. Bracelets. I don't wear jewelry except for 2 pieces. Bumper stickers. No bumper stickers on my car.
Have you ever purchased a bumper sticker?
Probably in the distant past, but certainly not now.
Do you remember what it said? I wrote this down. I was dying to know. I'm like, did Karen ever have a bumper sticker? What did it say?
It's so long ago, I can't remember. I probably didn't, but I've noticed bumper stickers.
I noticed them too. I do read them too. And I kind of like, I shouldn't read this, but I do.
I think I don't like the corny ones because number one, they're either political or religious.
Yeah.
And all of these will cause a lot of conflict, so I think it's better not to have them.
Let's continue.
Okay, often these items are produced on the opposite side of the world and shipped to the local area where they are sold. And like I said, it's a standing joke. You buy this, fancy, funny trinket from a faraway place. It could have been like the Congo or something, and then you see that it was made in China. Now, I'm not saying this to disparage China in the least. It's just that China now produces so much of this stuff. If you just buy something off the shelf, it's likely to be made in China.
Let's go to our next paragraph. In the 21st century, the current model of the souvenir industry just isn't sustainable.
And that is an understatement. But the thing is, it is not just the souvenir industry. And I think that is my issue with this article. It's good as far as it goes, but we buy so much junk we do not need. We keep it for a while or we buy a bigger house and then we throw it out and we create more waste. What is the point?
When we say the current model, we mean the way businesses operate. They're the way they plan on making money. When something isn't sustainable, we know that this can't last forever. There will be a breaking point where a change needs to take place.
Yeah, so this is true of souvenirs when you travel, but it is also true of just plastic junk at home. So Taiwan has a lot of these everything stores. And actually, I love them because if you need something specific, for example, I needed to repair a zipper. I found a store where you could buy the tab of the zipper and it hooked on the old one and it repaired it immediately. That was a wonderful thing to find in one of those huge stores. But if you go into one of those everything stores, you better have extremely good self-control.
I agree with you. I'm a big fan of those stores. There's one close to we used to have one right next door to my school, and I would constantly just be finding myself with maybe 5-10 minutes before I had to arrive to the office. And I would go in there and just kind of think like, how could I use this in my classroom?
Right.
These unusual tools. What's a way I could use this to draw some point in my classroom or make it interesting or fascinating for kids? It's just filled with like, I can't believe this is such a fun little thing.
We could call them fantasy stores because that's what all of us do. We see an object, we start fantasizing about how we could use it or where it would be in our home. And then if we don't have willpower, we buy it. If we do have willpower, we think twice. Yeah,
there's just like I'm always happy that those stores are there for whenever I might need to purchase an item for school. Yeah, very
odd
specific.
Item, yeah. Like that zipper repair thing, that was great. But really, this thing about self-control, don't buy more stuff than you need. And it may seem like a hugely good idea at the time, and you find you never use it. So be careful of that.
Let's go to our next sentence. The fuel spent on shipping massive containers of cheap, mass-produced items has a serious environmental impact.
And that's aside from not needing the thing in the first place, being made of plastic and ending up in the landfill.
Massive, there's that word mass again. Here this means very big. And then we have mass-produced, which we actually saw yesterday. In many cases, the people making these inexpensive clothing and plastic items may be working at factories in poor conditions.
And there's another thing, and this is not just for souvenirs, it's just for all kinds of stuff, especially what they call now fast fashion. You can often get clothes for very, very, very low prices, like something like a nice shirt for under $10 or a belt for $2 or whatever it is. All this cheap stuff was produced by people working hard, often in sweat factories. So there are a lot of problems just besides the pollution created.
Yeah, the Christmas factories that I talked about a little bit earlier, some of those people make, less than horrendous wages. They make terrible wages that they just can't build a living on. It's really difficult to read.
Low wages and toxic chemicals that they're exposed to.
I encourage you to look at some of the pictures from these Christmas factories. It's really hard to believe that people just have these kind of conditions. It's unbelievable to me.
And it's not just that area. There's Pakistan, there's Vietnam, there's Honduras. You go just about to any developing country. They are now trying to become more developed by producing more things, but it is a very, very, very painful period that they go through, and they are exploited.
What's more, such souvenirs don't benefit the local community where they are sold in the same way as locally produced items do.
So if you get, for example, a handmade piece of clothing that's representative of the culture that you're visiting, that will cost more, but it's probably made by the local people and will benefit them rather than buying just a piece of plastic.
So according to research out of Michigan State University, more money is kept in the local economy when you shop locally. So this paper states that if you spend around 3,000 NT dollars, we're going to use American dollars just to make the math easy for my brain. If you spend $100 locally, 73, so about 75% of that money stays in the local economy. However, if you spend that $100 at a big retailer, just 43% of it stays locally. That's less than half of that money that will get taken out. So there will be more money included in your local community when you purchase from people that made it in that area.
Right. Keep that in mind when shopping. Our last paragraph, which is a bit long, to promote local communities' well-being and environmental sustainability, both tourists and local governments need to take concrete steps to change things around. And here is the call to action. We have to change things. Governments should encourage vendors to stock a majority of locally made products instead of cheaper items imported from foreign countries. And that's also what we were just talking about. The main thing to watch out for here is the word vendors, V-E-N-D-O-R plus S. This is a really useful word because you see vendors all over Taiwan.
Yeah, this is a really, really useful word for Taiwan. Vending machines are machines that you could put in some money and purchase a small item. There are no people involved except you. You're just typing in what you want and it falls down.
And a vendor is somebody who sells things on the street or from a stall. Conscious tourists can choose to purchase locally produced souvenirs to support the livelihoods of local craftsmen and businesses. And we've already covered that. So if you buy something that's made locally, you're going to support the people there who are hosting you on your visit. Next sentence, this helps create a more symbiotic relationship between tourists and the communities they visit, directly promoting the economic development of the local area. The main word that will stand out here is symbiotic. I've heard people say symbiotic. I've heard both. It means that each side benefits the other. So you're in a relationship where both sides are helping each other. And that is what we're aiming for. That is what we hope for. So we hope that they will benefit by selling their stuff. We will benefit by buying better quality things and helping them.
So yesterday I mentioned that I was a tour guide in Niagara Falls and I told some various stories. I wanted to also mention the Made in USA store in Niagara Falls. So Niagara Falls is a very big tourist destination. There are many various kinds of souvenirs that you can buy, again, usually made outside of the community. But there is one very large store, and it's called the Made in USA store, where everything inside the store is supposed to be made in the United States.
Is it popular?
It was, well, especially with certain very pro-American type of audiences. The only problem with the Made in the USA store, almost none of it was branded for Niagara Falls. It was just USA merchandise in general, which was still popular. People love wearing the American flag. But there was no, like, I love Niagara Falls t-shirt made in the U.S.
Those were all made abroad.
Yeah.
Okay. While local handmade goods may be a bit more expensive, they generally offer better quality and contribute significantly to preserving local cultures and traditions. And that kind of sums up what we've already talked about. Let's go straight to the questions. Number 1, according to the passage, who most likely bought the earliest souvenirs in history?
A, rich visitors.
B, local craftsmen.
C, factory workers.
D, holy people. Well, the answer is rich visitors. We're talking about back in history. Only rich people could travel in the first place.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so number 2.
Which of the following is not an example of buying a souvenir?
A, Anna bought a traditional wooden keychain on her vacation to Kyoto, Japan.
B, George bought a handmade wide-brim hat from Panama on his company trip.
C, Judy bought a Barbie doll for her daughter at a toy store on her way home.
D, Bruce bought a Starbucks mug from Barcelona when he visited his uncle in Spain.
Now, even though it's from Starbucks, which is an American company and brand, at least it had a special design on it that said Barcelona, and that was representative of the place he visited. The answer here is C. Judy bought a Barbie doll for her daughter at a toy store on her way home. That is not a souvenir. That's just something she bought as a gift.
All right, number 3.
What is a problem with the modern souvenir industry?
A, traditional handicrafts must be shipped overseas.
B, some vacation spots are more popular than others.
C, a lot of items bought by tourists don't help the local economy.
D, governments are closing down factories where gifts are produced. Now, which of these is a problem with the modern souvenir industry?
It has to be letter C. A lot of items bought by tourists don't help the local economy.
Number 4.
What does the author advise people to do to make souvenirs sustainable?
A, only order souvenirs online. That's silly.
B, try to buy locally produced items.
C, shop at stores that sell imported items.
That's more like A. D, buy the most expensive gifts available.
And that's a really dumb idea. A lot of people actually don't appreciate gifts in the first place. The answer is letter B, try to buy locally produced items.
Take a look at the back. Often the difference between a locally and imported item, the difference is usually not that much of a difference. So you lose five NT dollars or something, but you get something made by a local craftsperson
That you feel better about.
That's right.
And that's it for today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.